Hello and welcome to Crime Chronicles. For many years, the Kinahan Cartel was the dominant force in Irish organised crime. What you may not have known is that they have a group of bitter rivals who have quietly taken over the top spot. Very little is known about this rival group, known simply as the family. Everything in the world of Irish crime has been in flux since the Regency Hotel killing in February 2016. The feud between the Kinahan Cartel and Gerry Hutch erupted into the public glare with the death of Kinahan associate David Byrne in a very public shooting at the Regency Hotel in Dublin. The Regency attack caused damage to both sides. Dozens of gang members and associates from both sides have been jailed, and the public became aware of the scale of organised crime on the Emerald Isle. Gang members from both sides were forced to flee abroad to escape the Garda, or rival gangs, and many had their assets seized. It was a disaster, an unmitigated disaster for them from every point of view, says one senior Garda member. Convulsions followed, including a series of killings of young men in their early 20s in North Dublin, none of which were related to the Kinahan-Hutch feud. That has probably created a bit of a void in terms of who's going to continue the trade, said Pat Leahy, Deputy Commissioner at the time. While younger, less experienced criminals fought openly, others, such as the gang known as the Family, quietly fed off the carcass of the Kinahan Cartel's Irish operation, hampered as it had been by Garda surveillance. The Family organised crime gang gets its name from two brothers, Brian and Philip Grendon. Brian Grendon first came to prominence in 2002 when he was 25. He was jailed for 6 years for his role in a €1.5 million heroin deal. Philip Grendon had been jailed in Spain for 7 years in 2014. Spanish police found suitcases containing cocaine valued at €3.8 million in a hotel in Valencia, one of which Grendon had thrown out of his room in the apparent belief somebody was about to attack him to steal it. He was released from Spanish prison sometime in 2019. Based in Ballyfermot and Clondalkin, the gang is known for dealing mainly in cocaine and heroin. However, it expanded its range in recent years, selling to smaller gangs throughout the island. Senior Garda sources say the Family is now the biggest domestic drugs gang in the Republic of Ireland. The people they have replaced, the Kinahan Cartel's Irish operation, the Byrne organised crime group, was led by Liam Byrne when the Regency attack occurred in 2016, and earlier by Freddie Thompson, both from Dublin. Byrne had his assets, including his home, taken by the CAB in the Garda clampdown after the Regency killing. The CAB, or Criminal Assets Bureau, is an independent statutory body that was established by the Criminal Assets Bureau Act in 1996. The Bureau's statutory remit is to carry out investigations into the suspected proceeds of criminal conduct. The other senior Kinahan leader, Freddie Thompson, is serving life for a feud-related murder, a conviction secured during the Garda post-Regency clampdown. The Grendons managed to seize the opportunity while the others were feuding. They're not feuding with anyone, and really, they're huge now, said one source. The same source continues. But the trouble is that the life cycle of these leading criminals is short. They tend to give it a massive blast at the top for about 5 or 6 active years, and then they're either dead or in jail. And there's always going to be others to fill the void. But the Grendons' desire has been to make money, not get into feuding, not getting distracted. Like the Kinahans and the Byrne gang, the Family used a West Dublin luxury car garage to launder the drug money. But they too are now facing investigation by the CAB, losing cash, jewellery and vehicles in a series of raids by the state agency. The global pandemic should have been a bad time for drug dealers. Bars and nightclubs were shut, and lots of young people were unemployed or surviving on the €350 a week pandemic unemployment payment. Yet every indicator available suggests that this was a boom time for the drugs trade. Recently, seizures of drugs and money generated by drugs have soared to record levels. During the pandemic, streets were deserted, while Garda COVID-19 checkpoints and higher visibility on the streets made low-level street dealing and drug deliveries easier to detect and the movement of larger consignments more risky. Nevertheless, Drug consumption has not fallen, and it was during this time that the family grew to become the most dominant drug crime cartel in Ireland. The one thing you can say about the trends is that it puts to bed any notion that drugs are a pub and nightclub problem. People are taking drugs, cannabis and cocaine in particular, as part of their daily routines. It's not linked to their social life, it's part of everyday life. And an awful lot of people are doing it. You can talk about checkpoints all you want, but you don't get drugs crime back to record levels during a global pandemic without huge numbers of people taking drugs, said one experienced Garda member. Cartels, dealers and users have become more resourceful. We've had young lads selling drugs on Snapchat and Instagram, cycle and van couriers, or even taxi men selling or delivering. But that's nothing new in the pandemic. That's all as old as mobile phones and social media. But the way of operating went into overdrive during the pandemic. You could call it drug dealing's click and collect, said the Garda, while colleagues say that drug supplies were not significantly interrupted anywhere, even when major seizures were made. Senior figures in the family have remained at arm's length from their supply, creating a buffer zone around themselves through fear and intimidation. Authorities have discovered how their smack empire has been built by using addicts hooked on heroin to store supplies and often transport it around the country. A lengthy probe into the workings of the family has discovered how the Grendon brothers have an army of cheap labour, targeting many reformed drug users with free cocaine and heroin to get them back hooked on the product. Once in debt, they are then recruited onto the gang's books to work for free. The family have grown at an unprecedented level over the past 5 years and are now estimated to be wholesaling a whopping 50 kilos of heroin a month, in a business turning over 20 million euros a year, with millions of euros being sent out of the country each month. A network of addicts have been taking the hits when charges are brought in relation to searches, while gang leaders, including Brian and brother Philip, get richer. Their strength has been based on a philosophy of trust. The inner circle is very tight and very loyal, and they've been working together for a long time. Over the past 20 years, the family has built their business into a monster. Although the family continues to dominate the supply of illegal drugs in Ireland, their time may be coming to an end. In 2023, the Gardaí have scored some major wins against the group, including seizing large amounts of cash, drugs, stolen property and ammunition in a series of raids targeting the family. These raids have taken place in and around Dublin and aim to disrupt the way the gang bring drugs into the country and how they send money out of the country to be laundered. Sources say the family bosses were so incensed by the discovery of the operation that they sent one of their main lieutenants to the area to begin an investigation into how the scam had been compromised. They are furious, a source said. For the time being, the senior figures of the family remain free men, but if the Gardaí have their way, this won't be the case for much longer. If you've enjoyed today's story, please hit the thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel and share it with your friends, and don't forget to ring the bell to be notified of future content.